Today we're going to change the rear brakes and rotors on my 2013 Toyota RAV4. Okay, we're going to need a couple things here to get started first. You're either going to need a 4-way wrench or an impact wrench. I'm going to use the impact wrench. I got some health issues, so it's going to make it a lot easier. And we got a 1/2-inch breaker bar you can use. You can put cheater bars on these if you have to. And then for this particular vehicle, we need a 21mm socket. We're also going to need a jack, and to be safe, you want to have a jack stand underneath there so the vehicle doesn't fall on top of you for safety reasons in case the jack lets loose. Okay, it's different on every vehicle, but you're going to want to get the frame or a support arm. Just get a little bit of pressure off of the tire. You still want the tire to contact the ground until you loosen the lug nuts a little bit. Now that we got this slightly loosened, we're going to jack it up higher so the tire's up off the ground. Tire's up off the ground, you want to get a jack stand underneath it and support it underneath the frame also. You can finish loosening these by hand. You can spin them off with a lug wrench if you want, or you can just run them off with the impact wrench real quick. Take and roll the tire aside. We're replacing both the rotor and the brakes. So first we have to get the brakes off of here. In order to do that, you want to make sure you have an assortment of tools, some sockets, ratchets, wrenches, miscellaneous stuff. You don't know what you're going to run into. And in order to remove this bolt back here, it is a 9/16 socket. And there's also one down here. Okay, some of these bolts will be pretty tight. You want to have a cheater bar on hand. Makes it a lot easier if you can hear that. They're rusted together, stuck together. Take that one loose. So we want to remove these bolts here. The first one, second one down below. Make sure you put them and know where they belong. Put them aside somewhere so you don't lose them. Slide this off, and you'll want to set it somewhere. You don't want to hang weight off of this brake line. So you'll want to turn and set it somewhere. It's not putting any pressure on it. Okay, we have to loosen this bolt and remove them to remove this housing for the brakes. It takes an 11/16" socket. Again, you want to have a cheater bar. It always makes life easier. Once you get those broken loose, just take them all the way out and remove them. If you're looking at these brake pads here, they still look good, but we're having some vibration in the vehicle. Whenever you're going downhill, it starts to shudder. There's nothing in the steering wheel or anything. I'm thinking it might be a warped brake. I'm not exactly sure, but this is probably a good chance this is going to fix the problem. They said the brakes still look like they're fine. Remove this and set it aside. If we look at these rotors, they don't look too bad. The edge of it's rusted up a little bit. It's worn away a little bit. Okay, now we got to remove the rotors. Sometimes this can be a difficult thing. You have to beat at it with a hammer. They're corroded on there. So let's see what we got here. Oh, we actually got a loose one. I don't mind that. Hopefully the camera can pick this up, but around it, there's some markings on there. The brake pads on the inside may be skipping or something, but we'll find out when we change the brake pads. Okay, while we're in here, the parking brake is right here. So take a look at those, make sure they're good. I could look at the thickness and see that they're still good. I mean, you only use them when you're applying them. When you're on a hill, I always use them and do it on a flat because it's better for your transmission. If you ever notice you're shifting from park to drive or park to reverse or whatever it might be, a clunk, or it seems like a little hard to shift it, you might want to start using your emergency brake. I picked these parts up at Advanced Auto Parts. I got the CarQuest Platinum painted rotors. I try to get the best every time. They last better. I hate to say it, but not necessarily the more money you spend, the better they are, but a lot of times it is. And I also picked up one of the best pair of ceramic brake pads. They're CarQuest Premium Gold. Okay, so what you want to do is make sure everything's cleaned up a little, make sure there's no rust or anything. Just get a little wire brush and knock off the rust. Painted rotor. Said we take out the bag here, just to contact the center. You're working all the dirt and grease, you don't want to get it all over there. Go ahead and you just push it on there. We're going to take the brake pad housing here, and we have to remove these brakes from the inside of here. We're just going to get a little hammer and tap them out of there. Just tap on them real lightly there. You can see all the dust and everything popping through there. You probably do by hand too sometimes. We'll try this side by hand. Yeah, this one, it slides right in there. Whoop. It's stuck a little bit. See all that dust and rust and everything that fell out of there, the brakes. They look a little crumbly and disintegrated. Sure wasn't going to hurt to have new ones. Got all your brake hardware in here. You want to replace all that. There should be some grease in here also. You want to grease those up where it makes contact with that hardware so it can slide easily. There's no resistance. And there will be 2 of each pad in there. They come as a set for rear and a set for the front. So this hardware here, it'll just pop out. You want to replace that. It comes with new hardware. Just want to make sure you remember which side came from which side. Sometimes they differ, sometimes they're the same. And as you can see, this also needs cleaned up a little bit. We'll hit it with the wire brush and clean it up. Alright, so we gotta clean this up a little bit too. You just watch those rubber gaskets, you don't want to hit those. I have this nice little brush that's made for plumbing stuff, but it's nice for stuff like this. You can get it right in there. Alright, we got that all cleaned up. We'll start putting everything back together, get the brake hardware in here and the pads. Okay, so you want to get all the brake hardware out, get it all situated, get it all separated, find out what you have in there. We opened everything up. For some reason, they sent us 2 sets of these, so you only need 2 for each side, and they sent us 8. So we got the brake hardware here. Just want to snap it back in place, just like it came out of there. Got your brake pads here. There's a little squealer here they send. You just snap it on here. Alright, we got the brake hardware assembled. We'll take it, bolt it back in here, get these bolts started. We'll start up top, line it up right, start it down low, snug up the top. Get onto the bottom here, snug it up. Right, make sure we're tight. Tighten up good. Good and snug. Okay, so we got the squealer on here. They only shipped us 3 out of 4. We're missing one, but no big deal. Just make sure you have the squealer on the inside at least. So we'll go ahead and assemble this hardware. Push those tight against the rotor. Rotor sits there, push against the rotor. Push those tight against the rotor. Alright, so from the old brakes, the caliper is pushed out a little bit. Use the old brake pad, put it in there, and you'll use it to compress it. You just compress it, tighten it up. You want to bottom it out all the way against the metal there. So we're bottomed out here. Make sure you got all that dirt and debris and dust out of here also. Clean it up, just don't hit that rubber seal on the caliper. Alright, so now we're ready to put the brake caliper back on. We'll just take this, slide it over the brake pads. Make sure these are compressed. Grab your 2 bolts, line it up, get it started. Go onto the bottom one, get it lined up. Snug on that one, snug on that one. So the front brakes are the same process. Everything's the same except for once you get to the brake pads, if you see the hardware in there, it's a little bit different. So just pay attention how that is in there. Replace it with the new stuff and same process. Make sure you tightened everything up. Got that tight. 2 bolts back here tight. Those are only bolts we loosened. Pads are in there. Everything's cleaned up. Rotor's on there sitting right. Get the tire and put her back on.
Very important step that you must take before you put your vehicle in drive or reverse. Start your vehicle with the vehicle in park. Compress the brake multiple times. It will feel soft at first and mushy. Keep on compressing it until it feels nice and firm. Once it feels firm, you can put it in reverse or drive and just test the brakes very lightly and gently. Just barely move and make sure they're grabbing and working.
Remove your jack stand. Drop the jack and remove it. So today we changed the brakes and rotors on a 2013 Toyota RAV4. It had a bit of vibration and it felt like the rotors were warped. After changing them, it resolved the problem. Everything's good to go. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Please click like and subscribe. Thank you.